You drill 2.2 million barrels a day. Okay. Now, let's just say this is 2.2 million barrels a day, right? Remember, as you drill, you have depleted.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you richer or you're poorer?
Poorer.
Yeah, poorer.
Good. Because you're depleting your asset. As of today, we have 37.07 billion of crude in our reserve.
Okay.
Right? Now, going by 2.2 million barrels a day, in the next 46, 47 years, we're going to run out of crude. So you're depleting your assets.
Okay.
Right? Now, as you now sell, I sell to
Tokwe.
right? You're the foreign buyer. Pay me for this oil.
Okay.
So you now pay me, right? You've paid me.
Yeah.
Now the question is, have I made money?
Certainly.
How?
I did an exchange.
Have I
No, have I made money?
You've made money because that's the money with you now.
I don't think you've made money.
Oh, you're going to spend that money, right?
Good. Now, let me rephrase my question. So that, have I created wealth?
No, you
No,
haven't.
you have not created. You just expended. You just lost your assets. Yes.
Good. Now, okay. Now, I've not even made money. The only thing I did
Was exchange.
Exchange, yeah.
I turned my natural assets into
liquid cash.
current assets.
Okay.
Now, what you now do
With this.
determines whether you get richer or you get
Just
poorer.
pay National Assembly salary by them gypsies.
Yeah, they
Do
explained.
you understand?
So this money now, according to what she's saying, that this money now, we've exchanged it. We've not even doubled it.
You've not doubled. You've
Because
not
this
created
money,
wealth.
we're using it to pay recurrent or capital.
You've not created wealth. See, the way the balance sheet works is this. You go to the bank, maybe you borrow $1 billion or 1 billion naira, right? Now, when you borrow that 1 billion, it is recorded under your liabilities as 1 billion. You're owing.
Yeah.
But you also now have an asset of 1 billion because that money is in your account.
Yes.
It balances out, right? But what you now do with that 1 billion determines whether you get richer or
But
you
is
get
that
poorer.
where the manufacturing comes in, where we need to produce factories?
No, okay, good. We'll get to that. See, what the World Bank now came out with a formula to manage this.
Okay, so the point is our president at this moment
Hold on.
does not trust the World Bank or IMF. He's even said that we should not use their numbers.
No. It is not about their numbers. Those numbers are spot on, and I will contest it. I have dedicated about almost 5 years of my life, right? From the very onset, when the World Poverty Clock was launched on January 2016, I started following it. And I sat down, I have decoded how it is calculated, how you use population growth to calculate it, everything. If you tell me if we make 3 billion today, I can tell you how many people it will move out of extreme poverty. And if you tell me we have a deficit of 2.8 billion, I will tell you how many people it will add to extreme poverty. Now, let's go back, right? So what you do with this money determines. Now, the formula the World Bank now brought out is called the Adjusted Net Savings, ANS for short. Now, what is Adjusted Net Savings? Adjusted Net Savings equals net national savings. That is what you already have, plus education expenditure, minus energy depletion, minus mineral depletion, minus net forest depletion, minus damages from carbon dioxide emission, and minus damages from particulate emission.
So this means the money should go to education.
Good. Now, see, education is a whole lot. When you invest in education, right, there have been think tanks that for every dollar you invest in education, it gives you return, right? Now, that education, the way the balance sheet works, right, that your asset equals liability plus shareholders' what? Equity. Education is what turns the money around and gives you return that will be recorded as the shareholders' equity that will now reduce your liability.
Long-term taxes.
Good. Spot on. Now, you see, the Western world will say, I invest in you, right? The returns that you keep paying till you die is those taxes. Is the taxes. So there have been different think tanks, right? Some say if you go through pre-K, for every $1 you invest, you get $7 back. If you get to high school, for every $1 you get $11 back through that person's lifetime. Some said if you go through university, you get $16 back. Some have even argued that it's as much as $22 to $25 to $32.
That's the government calculated his investment.
And that's why that's why there's this school loans for people abroad because they know they get that back. Go ahead, Obeji.
You said in the beginning that the IMF have come out with what they have, what the solutions they've given for countries who are ready to create wealth, and we are not following.
We are not following.
And are you telling me now that our economic advisors are not aware of this, or they are aware, but there's a deliberate attempt not to follow, so that they will not?
I can't answer that. I can't say what Mr. A or what Mr. B knows and does not know, right? Okay. But I am telling you, I can sit in front of anybody
and defend these figures.
I can sit in front. Look, these are real-time figures, right? We create. The World Bank also said between the 80s and now, we've been having 2.6% de-savings. No, de-savings. Now, if you look at it, our budget is always on the deficit, right? Good. You're depleting this. You're depleting your assets, right? Your budget is in the deficit. Your expenditure supersedes your income. You're getting poorer. And as population increases, you're getting super poorer.
So the advisors, because recently the Minister for Economy, what's her name? The new lady.
Oh, okay.
Minister for Finance was saying that, it's not about how much we are owing, but how much we can earn. Saying that, we have the resources to generate.
Debt is not bad.
Debt to GDP ratio.
Debt is not a bad thing. Debt is bad when you take that money and you are living a frivolous life. Yes. Do you get it? Debt is not bad. If you borrow and you put it inside infrastructure. Remember, I said when you borrow, it's recorded against your liabilities. At the same time, it is recorded against your assets. Yes. So if you borrow like maybe $10 billion, for instance, and you go build bridges, you build highways, you build railroads, right? That same 10 billion will be recorded against your assets and it cancels out.
Okay, sir, I want to ask you a question. Because according to what IMF is advising, yes, it makes sense to invest in education. We have the numbers. But our governments keep saying that they want to invest in infrastructure. So how do we balance investments in infrastructure and its return, as opposed to investing in education and its return? Knowing that Boko Haram and all the kidnapping that we're having is based on lack of education has given us this. Okay,
I'll tell you something. Bill Gates came to this country and said that the economic recovery growth plan, right, that it was good, that we are investing in infrastructures, but it does not meet the needs of the people. And Bill Gates will not come into this country to start telling us the real issue. He will only tell you things on the surface, right? It is left for you and I to go figure it out. This is what he was telling you, that your economic recovery and growth plan does not meet the need of the people because your lack of investment in education will not give you returns.
People don't have the education.
The thing with infrastructure is this. It's good. But you see, over time, your infrastructure starts to depreciate.
Yes.
They minus all those things from your balance sheet, right?
Over time it's immediate.
Over time it depreciates. But education does not depreciate. It keeps giving you that return.
Let me come to because I wanted you to touch on this issue of renewable energy. Renewable assets that we have. The fact that you mentioned something about forestry.
Yes, that was where I was going. Finish your question, please.
I needed to understand. Yes, we have people cutting down trees all over the place, and it's going to take a lot of investment to build forests. It's not something you do overnight. But right now, it's being cut down. Now, it's not obviously it's renewable, right? But now, how do we find a way such that we reduce the amount of assets being depleted without being renewed?
There are two things, There are some sinister things happening in this country that nobody is even looking at, right? Nigeria is being plundered. That's the truth.
Has been plundered?
Yes, we're being plundered. And I'll explain to you, that was why Bill Gates said Nigeria and the DRC. Those two countries rich in mineral resources. The DRC has been continuously plundered since the 60s. If you go to places like Northern Kivu, Southern Kivu, Goma, Kisangani, right? They are all controlled by rebels. Right? Now, Eastern Congo, they steal all these mineral resources, they cut them out. The formula says minus net forest depletion, minus energy depletion, minus mineral resources. It doesn't say whether legally or illegally. See, let me tell a story. You have a warehouse. And in that warehouse, you have, let's just say, 25 million naira worth of goods. Every day, you move 25,000 naira worth of goods to the front to sell, right? Then, out of that 25,000, 30% is your profit. That is about 7,500, right? Now, that's your gross profit. So by the time you remove your operating profits, your phone card, your fuel, your electricity bill, maybe it goes 3,000 daily, right? So your net profit is now 4,500, right? But there's a bad guy in that neighborhood. The guy borrows every day or breaks the wall. He steals goods worth 5,000 naira from that warehouse every day. By the time you balance your books, right? Hypothetically, you've made 7,500 as profit, right? But practically, you would deduct what has been stolen. So at the end of the day, you are at minus 500 naira daily. So that's what is happening to Nigeria.
You see why we don't trust the IMF? Because they are culpable in the crisis we have right now. And people are saying that the Western world, they are a function of the Western world. They are an apparatus of the Western world.
Hold on. I want to say something, right?
And all the money stolen from Nigeria is taken into the Western world.
Well, that's not...
They are lodged in banks abroad.
Let me say, look at our net forest. In 1990, 18.9%, approximately 19% of Nigeria's land area was covered by forest. As of 2016, it was 7.2%.
So what's the return?
So we've return? No.
Return on that?
See, we've depleted our forest, right, by almost over 100,000.
Because there's a strong law in Nigeria against deforestation.
But we're not implementing it
now.
But
the people who are still deforesting Nigeria are trading with international communities.
Yes, but you see, this is what Yorubas will call kokoroto njefo.
RI follower, and they
we are our own worst enemies. You understand? I'm not saying that the government does not have problems, right?
The international communities.
But we all contribute to the death
like in the case of
Nigeria. Yeah, exactly. Now, let us look at the Northeast. This illegal logging, Rosewood, is going on in the Northeast. I don't know if you ever read the story, the report, the Rosewood racket. China's $1 billion illegal logging in Nigeria, right? Now, that's $1 billion. Go to Northwest, right? We have gold that has been stolen between 2 years, right? We only knew because bandits were now involved, right? Yes. Between 2015 and 2017, $9 billion worth of illegal gold were stolen in this country, right? That is 4.5 billion
so what
per year.
The government have done?
Hold on. Down south, you have crude oil being stolen. In 2009, a report was released that between 2003 and 2008, right, oil bunkering in this country, about $100 billion worth of oil was stolen. That's $20 billion annually, average. Now, in 2013, October 6, The Guardian UK reported that The Guardian UK reported that on average, $1 billion, 1 billion pounds, not dollars, worth of oil is being stolen from Nigeria and can let me finish this, and can only be comparable. The oil theft in Nigeria, they said, can only be comparable to international illicit drug trade. If you go around the Ondo axis, Edo axis, illegal loggings are going on. So when you put all that figure together, 20 billion in 20 billion in oil, another 1 billion up northeast, good. Just rosewood alone. We've not talked about cherry, we've not talked about mahogany and other species. Then when you now look at the northeast, about between 25 to 30 billion dollars worth of natural resources is stolen.
Unfortunately, we have just Nima, wait. We have
it's not a conspiracy theory.
We have just 5 minutes left. Okay. It's important for us to bring this conversation home. Yes. You've obviously depressed us and Nigerians at large. We are very depressed right now. But the question now is, what can we do to fix this?
How do we rejig the system?
Good. There are 5 things we need to do.
Okay, let's go to that.
Now, to reverse extreme poverty, I've calculated everything. As I said earlier, it's like the ultimate chess game. If you remove money from here, as you're depleting this, you need to know where to put money.
Yeah.
There are 5 things we need to do. 1, we need to, which the president is also doing now, that's produce assets, right? He's building roads, at least he's been investing, which has also helped reduce the number of people that have been added to extreme poverty daily.
Okay, because
you understand? Working. Yes. Now, second, our human capital assets. Education in this country is at when you say abysmal level. You understand? The investment is so disheartening.
Zero.
Yeah. Now, you asked a question earlier, right? You see, education is what leads to research and development. Yeah. Research and development is what leads to value added. I keep telling people, the money is not in the mineral resources. The money is in the value added. That's why we will produce 70% of all cocoa seeds worldwide. The cocoa industry is 100 billion. And we don't have any chocolate. The Netherlands that does not grow cocoa will now add value to it.
Let me pause for a quick second. I have a call waiting for a while. Hello, good morning. Are you there from Asaba?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a great program. I don't want to take much of your time. The guest you have is an erudite scholar. But the truth of the matter is, anything IMF, we seem to, more often than not, as a country, we tend to swallow it hook, line, and sinker. The point I want to make is, the template produced by IMF, is it that template that made the US, Canada, and other European countries to be rich? The truth of the matter is that there are political angles that we often don't look at.
Thank you, Jude.
More often than not, these countries, they try to suppress growth in other countries, especially poor countries, third world countries. And they use the elite of the third world countries to undermine their own countries. We have ministers, we have erudite scholars, but the truth of the matter is, why is it that things are not working? They are deliberate. They are deliberate attempts to keep third world.
Fantastic question, Jude. Let me come to you.
Now, see, the same matrix is what is used worldwide. Okay. I have done presentations where you look at education expenditure. For instance, the US, right? Their education expenditure is hitting about $1 trillion, between the $900 billion to $1 trillion range. Go look at Canada. You look at Germany. You look at, when you go to schools abroad, look, I have a daughter who is supposed to go into university next year. And we went around the schools she had picked, you know, to go do some survey, right? They take you around as a potential student. About 5 universities. And I told her, I said, you know what? There was one I liked. I said, if you come here, we are both going to become students. You understand? Just seeing the environment.
Alone.
Yes, was going to lure me back to go back to school. Do you understand what I'm saying? Education is what gives the return. Our education expenditure here, there was a time I mapped out education expenditure and economic growth.
And India has done it.
Yes.
India, China, what they did was to invest in education.
We were talking about what we needed to do. Education, we've talked about that. Then the renewable part, we need to now start renewing our natural assets. Trees. For instance, Pakistan planted 1 billion trees at the cost of 160 million. Now, if you go to tree value calculator, India planted 50 million trees in one region one day. Another region, they planted 66 million. In Philippines now, if you do not plant trees, you can't graduate. They've calculated that for a whole generation of 100 years, right? By the time people are graduating, for 100 years, they will have planted 525 billion trees.
Do we have space to plant the trees?
Yes. We have space.
Everybody's building.
We have space. There's deforestation.
You're in Lagos.
There's deforestation everywhere.
Deforestation. We have deforested Nigeria to the tune of all our assets, right? Now, that 1 billion trees, when I calculated it, in 5 years, when you go to tree value calculator, you put in the species of the tree, and then the size of the tree, the height, the tree trunk, in 5 years could give you a return on investment of about $250 to $300 billion. And if you have that kind of asset, when it's recorded on your balance sheet, there's the way they calculate it, there are a lot of people that should move out.
So education, forestry, infrastructure. What's the fourth one?
The fourth one is we need to block all the loopholes, the leakages.
Block the
Right? If you see, the amount we lose in leakages in a year is about between 25 to 30 billion. Imagine them taking that out of the country's balance sheet in a year. We will always be in the negative.
What's the fifth one?
The fifth one is...
to declare our own sovereignty. International communities. Yes, because
the fifth one, which President Buhari is also doing, is shoring up the net foreign assets. Okay. He met it at 30, he's taking it to about 45, right? Yeah. So which is also helping the country.
Unfortunately, we need to do more. Is education. That one they are not done.
The education one is not reflecting. The education one is what will give us returns.
Yes, and we're not doing it.
Until we do that,
we're still in the
thank
you very much. It's important that we didn't want to talk over our viewers because it's important that they understand. And I hope that the summary of everything is that currently, the state of our economy, we're not producing. Currently, we are depleting our assets. And the only way we can reverse them...
We operate an asset depletion economy.
Yes.
And as your asset depletes, your liabilities increase and you're getting poorer.
On that note, we can end the show. Have a fabulous... In fact, Oga, just depressing. No. But today's celebration. We're going to go and hear Chimamanda speak. I'm excited about that. See you there. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.